Greetings, NIRSA colleagues. Thanks for kicking off our new leadership year for NIRSA with us. Our President's Notes blog has had a traditional format, and this year we're going to try video. One thing that's been consistent through the President's Notes is a theme that has been carried out throughout each of the different blog posts. The theme this year is going to be Humans of NIRSA. And as I describe a little bit more about this, there are several references that I'm going to make note of. And below on the screen here, you'll be able to see links to those different resources if you want to learn more about those. So the first resource actually comes from the onboarding process when you become part of the board of directors. And that is Simon Sinek's TED Talk about why. So he always starts with why and as a critical point in decision making, and it's something that we use quite a bit on the board of directors. And it's something like using why was something that I used to help identify Humans as NIRSA as the theme to select for this year. So the why behind Humans of NIRSA came about after really this past 10 months or so, where we had several different colleagues pass away. And I was kind of reminded of several more folks who had passed away when I was watching the necrology report at the NIRSA annual conference last month. But as I think about my decision-making process to come to Humans of NIRSA, there are a couple specific people that I wanted to mention to you today that helped me get to this point. So last fall, I had the opportunity to attend the service for Hazel Varner, who was the retired director from Keene State University. She was known as somebody that I would see at an annual conference, and she was always super friendly, had a great warm smile, and was a very supportive person. And what I didn't realize is that she could have been really jaded from her past and different challenges that she and her husband faced over time. And I didn't know that I should have inquired more about those challenges to better understand her journey. So when I attended her wake along with a couple other NIRSA colleagues, we got to reflect on some of the different NIRSA items that were in the room. So for example, her honor award, the speech that she gave in recognition by the city of Rochester, and a NIRSA journal article that she wrote about women in NIRSA. So both her speech and also the NIRSA journal article I'm making available to you so that you can read through these to understand why they were so impactful for me. Especially the speech she gave in 1983 when she received this really distinctive award from the city of Rochester that talked a lot about her facing challenges with discrimination. It's a pretty powerful story, and for those of you, and I know there's few of you that had the chance to actually know her, you actually can hear her voice and her little Tennessee twang in listening to the story. But as you read through there, you can really see how Hazel paved the way for others, especially women in our field. And I wish I had understood her contributions better to thank her prior to her passing. The other one that I wanted to make note of today too is the sudden death of Zach Wood. You know, he and I supported each other after the loss of Jen DeVries back in 2012. And Jen was an associate director at Oregon State and a very engaged leader in NIRSA. She and I actually served on the board of directors several years ago when our terms overlapped for 1 year. And I learned a lot from her in that year. Specifically, her dedication to the evolving curriculum for the School of Collegiate Recreation. But I'm not sure how many people knew about her involvement with the Peace Corps and how that experience influenced how she approached pretty much every day. So the picture that we have for you here includes Troy Wood, Dave Faring, and Zach Wood as we celebrated Jen's life that fall. And then 3 years later, we lost Zach to a terrible accident. And Zach's passion and enthusiasm were extremely contagious. He and I spoke several times during his decision-making process to leave a great professional position he had at LSU UREC to pursue a PhD full-time to become a professor, because he was really inspired by teaching others and thought that that would be a great avenue for him to achieve that goal. So he truly wrestled with that decision, and he seemed really happy with his new direction. And I was really looking forward to seeing him blossom, but obviously he was taken from us too soon. So as I reflect on these really 3 colleagues that we've lost recently, we obviously can take away that time passes too fast. But the other part of the takeaway for me as I reflected over this past year is that sometimes our colleagues have amazing stories that some of us never get to know. And so it prompted me to use this as the why to focus on humans of NIRSA. And so this is similar to kind of like our version of the Humans of New York, which I believe there's going to be a link for you there if you're not familiar with that project. That Humans of New York has really prompted several different efforts kind of in this vein that are all pretty cool campaigns. So for me, the goal of Humans of NIRSA is to learn some insights from colleagues throughout the year that we may not get a chance to have learned about during a typical conversation that you have at a conference. So I've developed 5 questions that I'll ask each colleague to respond to. And I hope that a couple of the questions would initiate one of those more deeper dives into an experience or some insight that a colleague has. So those 5 questions are going to be: sharing an educational session that influenced or inspired you, a story of how one of your mentors helped you through a challenging situation, a mentee that you are proud of and why, and then a couple fun questions. So what was your last vacation? And the last one is, what is your hidden talent or talents? So our first colleague to learn more about is this year's NIRSA student leader, Will Trent, who is a graduate assistant at James Madison University. So please check out Will's responses. If you'd like to participate in Humans of NIRSA, please contact me at this email address. Lastly, I hope that your semester and quarter is coming to a really positive end, and that you're starting to think about ways you're going to contribute to NIRSA and our profession over the next year. One opportunity coming up is to present at the 2017 annual conference, and the deadline for those proposals is coming up at the end of this month on June 1st. So thank you for watching.